different. Yo, Nipsey was the people's champ. He gave us all hope. It's a major loss for our community. So many jobs have been lost since Nipsey's been gone.
They wiped out his whole family. Baby mama, granny. Them niggas is like, they went and did John's that same day.
Black Sam is now reportedly under investigation, tied to the deaths connected to Eric Holder's family. 4 people in total, all of them somehow linked back to the man responsible for taking his brother's life, gone within just 9 months after Nipsey passed. Detectives are now watching Sam closely because someone with serious influence, deep resources, and a strong motive seemed set on making sure everyone tied to Holder faced consequences. His cousins were gone the very next day. His half-brother was later found dead inside his own home. Then his father lost his life before the year even ended. And Sam, he stepped in front of cameras and told the world he wished Eric Holder wasn't locked up, not out of forgiveness, but because being behind bars might actually be the only thing keeping him alive. You need to hear this story. To really understand what's unfolding right now, you have to understand who Black Sam truly is. The media often paints him as just Nipsey's older brother, the quiet one at vigils, standing beside Lauren London while she cried, speaking calmly to reporters. But in reality, Black Sam is far from just a background figure. Samuel Asghedom, known as Black Sam, came up in Crenshaw, the same streets Nipsey walked, the same environment, the same pressure. He's not just Nipsey's brother by blood. This runs deeper than that, built on loyalty, shared struggle, and a life shaped side by side.
After that happened, they went and this family house. They wiped out his whole family. Baby mama, granny. Them niggas is like, they went and did John's that same day. That was just behind that. And it's like, most niggas be like, I ain't got shit to live for. Shit, y'all people big, and it's big you. That's you know.
The streets of Crenshaw in a wave of emotion and respect. Some churches hesitated to host the service, unsure how massive the turnout would be. It took LeBron James and Karen Bass stepping in to secure the Crypto.com arena, what many still call the Staples Center, so the city could come together and say goodbye the right way. That's the level of what was happening. And through all of it, Sam stood there, watching everything unfold, watching his younger brother laid to rest, watching Lauren London break down in front of the world.
Everything he said in the music was who he was, and it's not too much I can tell you about him, and I just hope that he knows we all proud of him.
He watched Nipsey's kids grow up without their father. He saw a man, someone they knew, someone from the same neighborhood, the same circle, take everything from them in a single moment. You think that just faded away? You think he just let that slide? No chance. The streets didn't forget either. Let's set the scene. March 31st, 2019, a Sunday afternoon. Nipsey Hussle pulls up to his store, the Marathon Clothing, right in Hyde Park, South Los Angeles. This was his space, his block, something he built from the ground up into a symbol of success and pride. But this is where everything shifts. In that August 2024 interview with Big Boy, Black Sam broke it down with real detail, the kind only someone close could give. He said, keeping it close to his own words, that every time Nipsey arrived at the store, there was always a security routine in place. Sam would usually be at the entrance, hoodie on, standing alert with another team member right beside him, also on watch. That was the standard. That was how things were supposed to go every single time. But on that Sunday, something was off. Nobody was at the door. The store was packed, customers everywhere, and the team was busy helping people, focused on business, trying to keep everything moving. And that one moment, that small break in routine. So much hope in your Nipsey. Nipsey was the people's champ. He gave us all hope. Changed everything. According to Sam's account, that brief lapse opened the door for Eric Holder, who had already been watching the area, waiting for the right moment to step in. Sam broke it down step by step, almost like piecing together a case. He said that before everything happened, a man walked into the parking lot with no shirt on, just observing, scanning, trying to read the situation. He noticed nobody was at the doorway. He saw Nipsey outside in shorts, looking relaxed, not expecting anything unusual. The man looked around, took it all in, then turned and walked away. But then he came back, this time wearing a red shirt. And this is the part Black Sam pointed out that really stands out when you think about it. Red isn't something you casually see in that area. You're not just picking up a red shirt in Crenshaw like that. That color carries meaning. So either you're tied to it or you're using it as a disguise, just like Sam explained. The man moved carefully through the alley, came around the corner, and then everything escalated fast. Nipsey was hit multiple times, and 2 other people were also injured during the chaos. Eric Holder then rushed off through the alley, getting into a white Chevy Cruze driven by a woman, his girlfriend at the time, who reportedly didn't know what was about to happen. Black Sam was about 6 blocks away at his grandmother's house when he got the call. He said he jumped in his car, ran every stop sign, doing everything he could to get there as fast as possible. When he arrived, Nipsey was still holding on, and then moments later, he wasn't. Sam shared this in the interview, speaking on it in a way that made the moment feel real all over again. It was like the Twilight Zone. After that, everything I believed in, my faith, was shaken. That's how Sam described it. Picture that moment clearly. Sam standing there, watching his brother slip away right in front of him. That pain, that shock, that reality, it became the emotional core of everything that followed. Now move to April 1st, 2019, just 1 day after Nipsey Hussle lost his life. 2 men, believed to be cousins of Eric Holder, were involved in an incident in South Central Los Angeles where they lost their lives. 1 day, that's all it took. Not even a full 24 hours had passed. Authorities were quick to clarify that these men were not believed to be connected to what happened to Nipsey. They weren't suspects, not tied to the situation directly, just people linked by family. But in the streets, people saw it differently. No statements needed, no explanations. Everyone understood the message being sent. April 2nd, Eric Holder is taken into custody in Bellflower, a suburb of LA. He's placed in isolation while the legal process unfolds. And this is where it gets deeper. While he's locked away and out of reach, his family is still out in the world, still exposed to everything happening around him. About a month passes. The city's still hurting. The memorial has happened, but emotions are still raw, still heavy. Then another development. Eric Holder's half-brother was found dead inside his home under unclear circumstances. But people in the streets were paying attention because by this point, patterns were starting to show. This didn't feel random. It felt intentional, calculated. Someone was sending a message to Eric Holder, and the only way they believed would reach him while he was locked away, through the loss of people close to him. Then the year comes to an end. December 2019, Eric Holder's father loses his life in Los Angeles. This was a man who, based on reports, had no involvement in his son's actions. In fact, he even wrote a letter that was later read in court expressing regret and acknowledging the seriousness of what happened. He understood the weight of it all. And still, his life was taken. That makes 4 family members, 2 cousins, a half-brother, and his father, all gone within 9 months of Nipsey's passing. That timeline alone had people talking. No one was officially charged. No names were publicly confirmed by law enforcement in connection to those incidents, but one question kept coming up again and again. Who had the motive, the resources, and the influence to make something like that happen? Now fast forward to August 9th, 2024, 5 years later. Life has moved on for many. Eric Holder is serving a 60 years to life sentence, the case closed in the legal system. But then, Black Sam, who stayed quiet, controlled, almost distant in public, finally sits down with Big Boy for a rare and deeply personal interview. He breaks down the security routine in detail. He walks through how everything unfolded and then shares his belief that Holder didn't act alone, that someone may have influenced the situation from behind the scenes to get close to Nipsey. He points out that Holder seemed nervous, unsure, not moving with confidence, even hesitating at key moments. But here's the part that really caught attention. Sam said he wishes Eric Holder wasn't locked up. Let that sink in for a second. This is a man whose younger brother lost his life at the hands of Eric Holder, and yet he's saying he wishes he wasn't in prison. Why? Because in his words, being behind bars might be the only thing protecting Holder from what could happen to him out in the streets.
Think about what that really suggests.
He's not saying this out of forgiveness. He's not saying everything is okay now. He's pointing out that the reality outside those prison walls could be very different for Holder if he wasn't in custody. And the internet, it went crazy over that statement. When people connected that quote with everything else, the series of deaths within 9 months, the tension, the emotions Sam has carried this whole time, it started forming a narrative in people's minds. Even observers began looking closer at the bigger picture. But here's where things need to stay clear and grounded. There have been no official charges filed against Black Sam, no public case, no formal accusations announced by law enforcement. What's been spreading fast across social media, blogs, and street-level platforms is the idea that Sam is being looked at, that investigators may be quietly reviewing the deaths connected to Eric Holder's family and asking deeper questions about who had the reach and motivation to organize that kind of response. When people start applying basic logic to the situation, looking at timing, relationships, and how things move in those environments, the conversation keeps looping back to the same point again and again. Now look at what people are pointing to. First, the timing. The cousins lost their lives just 1 day after Nipsey. To a lot of observers, that doesn't feel random. It suggests knowing who's connected, where they are, and moving quickly, faster than the news could even catch up. That kind of timing feels coordinated to those paying close attention. Second, the pattern. These incidents didn't happen all at once. They unfolded in stages. First the cousins, then the half-brother weeks later, and then the father by the end of the year. People see that sequence and start thinking it looks structured, not emotional or chaotic. Third, Sam's own words. He publicly said that Holder may not have acted alone, that someone could have influenced or directed him. That statement alone added another layer to how people interpret everything. It suggests Sam believes there's a bigger story behind Nipsey's passing. And if someone truly feels their brother was targeted and set up, then in their mind, it wouldn't stop with just one person. It would raise questions about everyone who could have been involved. Now bring in the Brick Baby situation. In late 2024, Brick Baby, a rapper who has openly talked about his longtime friendship with Eric Holder, revealed that he and Black Sam had a direct confrontation. The tension came from Brick Baby still being publicly tied to Holder. Brick Baby said he understood Sam's emotions, but also felt he couldn't ignore a relationship that goes back years. That moment showed something important. Sam is still carrying a lot from everything that happened. Even years later, that weight hasn't gone anywhere. The situation isn't something that just fades with time. But here's where things shift from speculation to something more grounded. Law enforcement in Los Angeles has a long history of keeping cases open when it comes to retaliation-style incidents tied to gang activity. The deaths connected to Eric Holder's family were never officially solved, which means those cases are still open. And when you have multiple unsolved deaths connected directly or indirectly to one of the most high-profile cases in LA, investigators don't just close the book and walk away. They keep looking, keep asking questions, and keep revisiting details over time. So, when people ask, is Black Sam being investigated, a more accurate way to frame it might be this: has his name ever come up while authorities review those open cases? In a city like Los Angeles, with a situation this big, it wouldn't be unusual for multiple names to surface during that process. He's now sitting in state prison facing 60 years to life with no realistic chance of parole. And in 2023, his attorney said something that really stood out. He explained that once Holder entered the state prison system, he would face serious risks because of how widely Nipsey Hussle was respected across different communities. His lawyer made it clear his time inside would be extremely difficult for as long as he's there. That wasn't just legal talk, it was a real warning from someone who understands how things can play out in that environment. It highlights that Holder's safety isn't something that can be taken for granted, especially given everything surrounding the case. And that's before even factoring in that multiple members of his family have already lost their lives. On top of that, there are public statements from Black Sam that people continue to analyze and debate, bringing even more attention to the situation. Right now, Eric Holder is facing the consequences of what happened in 2019 in a very real and lasting way. The legal system has made its decision, and his circumstances are now locked within that structure. There's no easy way around it, no quick exit, and no control over how things unfold day to day. Everything traces back to that moment on March 31st, 2019, a decision that changed multiple lives forever. And even his father, who once expressed regret in a letter during the trial, wasn't here to see how the case ultimately ended. Now here's where everything starts to feel even heavier. While people online keep debating, analyzing, and trying to connect every detail, there's a bigger reality behind all of it. Black Sam has never come out claiming responsibility for anything, never made direct statements tying himself to those incidents. What he has done, though, is speak in a way that leaves room for interpretation. Calm, measured, but layered with meaning if you listen closely. And that's why his words keep getting replayed again and again. Every interview clip, every sentence, every pause, people study it like it's evidence, trying to figure out what's really being said versus what's being implied. At the same time, the legacy of Nipsey Hussle hasn't slowed down at all. His name still carries weight. His vision for ownership and community continues to inspire people every single day, and the Marathon brand still stands strong as a symbol of everything he built. So now you've got two stories moving at once. One is about legacy, growth, and impact that keeps rising, and the other is filled with unanswered questions, ongoing investigations, and conversations that refuse to fade away. That's the real weight of this situation. Now, take a step back and look at the bigger picture, because this isn't just about loss or payback. It's about what happens to the people left behind when something this major hits. Black Sam didn't just lose a brother. He lost a business partner, a creative partner, and a key piece of something that was still growing into what it was meant to be. They built the Marathon brand together, and now Sam has had to carry that vision forward on his own. We're talking about everything. The Marathon clothing store, Marathon Burger, the entire legacy tied to Nipsey's name. Sam has been the one keeping it all moving while dealing with a level of grief most people can't even imagine. And here's what really stands out. Through all of this, he's stayed controlled, focused, and disciplined. You haven't seen him online going back and forth, and you haven't seen him doing constant interviews chasing attention. He moves carefully. That Big Boy interview in August 2024 was rare for a reason. When he speaks, it's intentional, and that makes every word hit harder. So when Black Sam says he believes what happened was planned and that Holder may not have acted alone, that's not something said lightly. That's a statement that comes from deep thought and reflection. And when he says he wishes Holder was locked up, that's not a slip in wording. That's him expressing exactly how he sees the situation. And that right there is why people keep talking, why theories keep building, and why this entire situation continues to stay in the spotlight. Because when someone with Sam's background, influence, and position speaks like that, and multiple people connected to the situation have lost their lives, it keeps the conversation going, whether people like it or not. And then you go on camera and say you wish that man was accessible outside of prison. What do you think people are going to do with that? Of course, the conversation is going to explode. So now people are asking, is Black Sam simply a grieving brother who stayed loyal to his circle? Or is there something deeper to it? Some even question if he played a bigger role in how everything unfolded around those connected to the situation. And here's the complicated part. In the kind of environment all of this happened in, those two ideas don't always cancel each other out. Both can exist at the same time, depending on how you look at it. This story is far from over. Eric Holder is still serving his sentence, facing a harsh reality inside those prison walls. Multiple members of his family have lost their lives under circumstances that remain unresolved, with no one officially held responsible. Black Sam's name continues to come up in conversations, not because of charges or arrests, but because in a situation this big, investigators tend to look at anyone who could have motive or influence. And when someone closely connected speaks publicly years later and shares strong opinions, it naturally keeps attention on the case. The marathon continues. That's the message that's always repeated. And in many ways, it's true. The businesses are still running, the family is moving forward, Lauren London continues to heal, and Nipsey's music still reaches people every day. And that's where things stand right now. A story filled with emotion, unanswered questions, and layers people are still trying to understand. On one side, you have legacy. Nipsey Hussle's impact is still growing, still pushing people to think bigger, move smarter, and build something that lasts. The Marathon brand didn't stop. It kept going, just like he always preached. On the other side, you've got a timeline that still raises eyebrows. Multiple incidents, no clear resolutions, and conversations that just won't fade no matter how much time passes. Black Sam remains right in the center of it all, but at the same time, he stays quiet, focused, and hard to read. That silence alone keeps people guessing, because when someone chooses not to speak often, it makes every moment they do speak feel even more important. And that's why this situation keeps pulling people back in. Every detail, every interview, every piece of the timeline, it all feels like part of something bigger that hasn't been fully explained yet. At the end of the day, there's what's been confirmed, and then there's what people believe based on everything they've seen and heard. And until every question gets a clear answer, this story is going to stay alive, keep people talking, and keep building curiosity with every passing day. Nipsey Hussle used to say, having strong enemies is a blessing. He understood that when you build something real, especially coming from the environment he did, there will always be people trying to tear it down. And in the end, he paid the ultimate price for that. What doesn't get talked about enough is the cost carried by the people closest to him. That part doesn't fade, doesn't disappear, and doesn't get easier with time. Black Sam wakes up every day carrying a weight most people couldn't even imagine. He helped build something powerful, stood solid through it all, and kept everything moving forward even when the pain was still fresh. Whether the stories people tell are true or not, one thing is clear. The principles he lives by, the environment he comes from, and the loyalty he has for his brother shaped him into someone people take very seriously. At the center of all this is one moment, March 31st, 2019. A decision was made that day, and the impact of it spread far beyond that parking lot in Hyde Park. The effects didn't stop there. They reached into families, communities, and conversations that are still happening right now. People continue to debate, question, and form their own opinions. So what do you think? Does any of this change how you view the situation or Nipsey Hussle's legacy? Let me know your thoughts. And if you haven't heard the full breakdown of what may have really happened, especially with claims that Eric Holder didn't act alone, stay tuned, because that part of the story adds a whole new layer to everything. The marathon continues.